in other legacy sequels, at least you have more of the legacy in the movie as well. Here you have Leatherface. I'm gonna call him Leatherface in quotations because it doesn't feel like it's actually Leatherface.
No.
For many reasons.
And that's the first
big issue.
And I guess the biggest issue.
Yeah.
No. That this guy is not Leatherface.
No.
It can't be. No, hello, and welcome to the Spoilercast, the show where we talk about movies and we don't care about spoiling them because it's the Spoilercast. I just told you. Quick disclaimer. This is the second time recording this episode because my computer crashed. So if this episode is a little shorter and we don't sound as natural as we're
as enthusiastic,
that's why. However, we were able to recover that file. So if you want to hear our first discussion about this, which is very ranty, very all over the place, like always, but if you want to hear that for some reason, the video version of that episode is going to be featured on our Patreon, patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. So, it's a video one, so it should be $10, but since it's an extra video, we're going to put it up as a $3 video.
Yes.
So for just $3, you can listen to that and so many other extra episodes and commentary tracks and bunch of stuff, which I'm not going to bore you with right now. Instead, we're going to just fucking get right into the discussion. Today, we're talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2022 version.
The released and distributed by Netflix, of all places.
Yeah, and we will briefly discuss here and there the original.
Yes, obviously.
Once again, we should just put down a baseline. This is not going to be as natural as the first time or whatever. For me, the original 1974, or 1973, whatever, version, or the original, is not only one of the best horror movies of all time, it's one of the best movies of all time. It's a 5 out of 5. I've seen it too many times. And I love it. I love it.
I am not of the same... I don't agree.
No.
Completely. I mean, I can see the legacy behind it. I see how it's had a historical impact on horror in general and movies, I suppose, in general. But I don't like the movie in and of itself. It's so slow at points, and then it just feels like an hour of screaming at the end, but we discussed it and it turns out it's only like 16 minutes. Yeah. But no, it feels like an hour, and it's part of the torture, but it's also like it's torture to the viewer. So
What you mean? Yeah, it's a horror movie that actually horrifies you.
Sure.
My.
But it doesn't horrify me
How
in the
novel.
correct way.
Horror
it doesn't
movie that
scare
works.
me, it just makes me want to die.
Oh, okay. Sure. However,
yes.
the new one
is even worse.
Yes. Because we didn't say that. You would give the original one like a 2 out of 5. You said?
2 out of 5.
Yeah, which I think is low, but because I give it a 5 out of 5. I think it's a masterpiece. Like I said, the original though, we both scored it on our Letterboxd.
No, not the original, the new one.
Oh, the new
one.
Sorry.
We scored on Letterboxd.
I gave it a 1.
I gave it half because it felt mean to give it 0.
Yeah,
but it is pure. It has so many plot holes.
Oh yes.
It is not entertaining.
It's inconsistent with the original, which is supposed to be. This is supposed to be the first real sequel, even though the original sequel from 1986 is a much better movie than this. That's
actually a sequel. This isn't a sequel. This is what happens 50 years later.
It's a legacy sequel.
Yeah. Which it can only call itself because it lives. It's riding on the legacy of Leatherface.
Yeah, that's what a legacy.
Yeah, but like
is.
in other legacy sequels, at least you have more of the legacy in the movie as well. Here you have Leatherface. I'm gonna call him Leatherface in quotations because it doesn't feel like it's actually Leatherface.
No.
For many reasons.
And that's the first
big issue.
And I guess the biggest issue.
Yeah.
That this guy is not Leatherface. No. It can't be.
It doesn't work.
First of all, the original one, it came out in 73 or 74.
74,
so
I think.
Almost 50 years old. In that movie, he is supposed to be in his mid-20s, because that's going after what the actor was. Gunnar Hansen was like in his mid-20s or like
and what he looks
late
like
20s.
In the movie.
Yeah. So in this one, he should be pushing 70 or even over 70.
Yeah.
And still he runs around and he can defeat multiple cops.
He has the physics and like abilities of 40-50.
Yeah, a man
if you're really
is, like,
sporty
peak condition.
Yeah.
Basically, it does not make sense.
Also, there's this whole, he supposedly lived at this orphanage, and in the picture where you can see his body but not his face, his body looks more like
younger.
a teenager or something.
Young, like a big young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like an old man standing in the background.
And also, in the original, he is supposed to be he's inbred, so he has both like mental and physical disabilities. That's why he wears a mask. So he hates his face, and he's basically autistic. That's what Gunnar Hansen based his performance on, because he's
non-verbal autistic.
The more severe end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Which I think he does a very good job.
Sure, yeah,
of
you can
depicting.
actually tell
Some
that's
people
what
think
he's
it's
basing
inconsiderate,
it on.
but if you've met like the more people on that side of the spectrum, like which we have,
yes,
they act like that. Not the violent. Well,
they can become
not the extreme
that
violence.
violent.
But,
I mean, the cannibalistic killing people is a bit much, maybe. But that's
very a bit much.
That's not the sickness. That's the upbringing.
Movie. Yeah, the upbringing. Yeah,
because he lives.
But
with
the erratic acting, the screaming,
the lashing out,
the physical tics. It's. I think it's kind of spot on.
And
it's that side of autism that movies never want to talk about.
Yes, and it works for the character.
It
makes sense to why he would do that.
Yeah. In this, however, he's just a guy who doesn't talk.
He's just a very quiet guy.
He's quiet, and then he gets angry and starts killing people, which is also not a thing in the original. He is scared and therefore lashes out and kills them because he's the butcher in the family.
In this one, he's angry killing people.
Yeah, if this was a real Leatherface, he might have killed the one cop, but then he would have ran away.
Yeah.
In this one, he systematically seeks out everyone who wronged him, and killed his grandma, the caretaker,
mama or whatever.
Yeah, and which the protagonists in this movie are sort of responsible for.
Yeah, I mean, they do drive her out of her house when they're not technically allowed to, because it is still her house, even though they think they bought it.
Quickly, we gotta just go through the premise. There are this chef, this restaurateur. I guess he's a chef.
Yeah.
His business partner and her sister.
And then his fiancée.
They're going to this town, Harlow in Texas, which I think is the town where the movies have taken place.
Or
I'm not
near
sure.
Whatever.
Yeah, because I recognize the name, but I'm not sure.
It's not mentioned in the original.
I don't think so, yeah.
I can't, no.
They've
bought this town,
They've basically bought the town, and they're going to auction off all the old businesses or just the old buildings.
Because they want to start a new little utopia out in the rural Texas.
Yeah, away from the bustle of the city.
Yeah.
It's a very on-the-nose commentary on gentrification.
Yes.
They're even called gentrifuckers early in the movie. Which is kind of funny then that it's a black man gentrifying a white neighborhood.
Yes, because the restaurateur, chef dude, he's a black guy.
Dante is his name.
Yeah.
His fiancée is just fiancée in the script.
She doesn't have a name for some reason.
Yeah, and then his partner is Mel, and her sister is Lil, which is also very annoying.
And sister Lil is brought out to this as well because she needs to get away because she was in a school shooting.
Yeah, she's
sole survivor,
it seems. She's the defiant teenager, like, I don't even want to be here, but then it turns out because she has trauma in her life. So there's... Yeah, that's the story. So they take this one woman who's left in the town and like, no, you have to get out of here.
Because they're so sure that they bought the house from her. And she's like, no, but I paid my bills.
Yeah, and also she happens to have a Confederate flag on her house.
Which they don't like.
So they just decided that they can treat her any way they want. Yeah. Even though she explains the classic, no, it's heritage, not hate.
And also, if you want to be a decent person about getting someone out of their house, even if you have paid for it...
Yeah, act like a bigger person.
Be decent.
She's being nice to them.
She's being very nice.
Pretty nice.
She snaps a little bit when they're like, but no, you haven't paid. And she's like, but I did. And then she collapses and gets taken out.
She gets stressed out, collapses, pukes on the floor. So they put her in the police van, which is doubling as an ambulance. And the boy, it turns out one boy is living in the orphanage.
Yeah.
She has an orphanage. I don't know if we said that. If we're like going through this too quickly, it's because we already did this.
Also, the story is really not. It doesn't work.
No.
We have this whole thing where they want to they bought the city and they want to start their own community here.
Yeah.
Cool and all, but
that doesn't really have anything to do with the story.
It doesn't have anything to do with the story.
The story is the grandma dies in the ambulance.
Yeah, and
her dying words are like, "Be a good boy and don't go into grandma's room."
Yeah.
She dies. He gets angry, kills the cops in a very brutal way.
Oh, love the way he snapped the arm and shoved the bone pipes into his neck. So brutal that I actually had to look away.
And that's the one good thing in this movie. The gore.
Oh, yes.
The gore is good. It is.
It's almost too gory.
But yeah, so he kills the cops.
Kills the fiancé.
The fiancé who went with her in the ambulance.
She manages to get out a message, though. He's killing us. He's wearing her face.
Yeah, because another very un-Leatherface thing, he cuts off the face of grandma, or the grandma,
or mama,
or lady,
or whatever she's called.
Which is another thing. He would never cut off the face of anyone he likes.
And he obviously shows respect towards her because he's like arranges her.
Yeah, exactly.
A little shrine style.
Yeah, he cuts the face of the animals, quote unquote, the humans that they capture because he doesn't care. He just want to cover his face so he makes masks. Him like wearing his surrogate mother's face as like some sort of like avenging angel thing that doesn't fit with the character.
No, he should have cut the faces off the cops or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But no.
No.
And then he walks back into town and carnage ensues between him and the kids, millennials. Yeah. And obviously the people who came into town the same day to buy the rest of the property from these millennials to join the community.
Yeah, to start up this community. Which is also, like, they arrive the same day as the auction is.
Very poor planning.
Shouldn't they at least arrive a few days before so they can clean up a little bit?
Make sure there's no federal flags. Yeah. Confederate flags. Make sure there's no one actually squatting in the buildings or anything. Yeah, God forbid. There could be fucking animals in there. I don't know.
Yeah, even though they have the one hillbilly Texan guy, the open carry diesel pickup guy who was very
handyman.
Yeah, who was very antagonistic.
Who seems to have set up shop well in the city.
I guess they'll let him stay there because he owns the garage or something.
Maybe that's the payment. If you help us, you can keep your garage for free. I don't know.
And he's also like a plant because this movie, like we said, it has all these progressive points like.
They're anti-gun. They're anti-Confederate, obviously.
Yeah. And then he is depicted as the typical like racist hick.
Yeah, they're classical like Gen Z. They're not even millennial, right? They're like Gen Z.
I think they're Gen Z, right? Because they're younger than us.
Yeah, even the older ones are.
Yeah, they're like in their 20s.
Yeah. Because the little sister, she's in high school.
Yeah. So they're painting him as the typical way that millennials and Gen Zers would look at a Texan, The only thing he doesn't do, and I don't know why they didn't just go there, he doesn't say the N-word.
Oh, I don't think they wanted to. No, because that would have been too much.
I guess, because it actually turns out that he's kind of a good guy.
He's the hero in this story, to me.
For a while.
I mean, he should have been the hero.
He should have been the hero, because that would have been a nice juxtaposition. Like, oh, the close-minded hillbilly actually turns out to be the savior. But...
Yeah, because when Dante gets chopped in the face, he doesn't question. He goes up to him and helps him and wants to help him. And as soon as he realizes, something's going down, where are the girls? He goes after to save them.
He pulls out his gun, his open carry gun,
big-ass revolver.
Risks his life for these rude city folk who has only been mean to him
especially
so far.
Mel.
Yeah.
She's a bitch.
And he just walks right in there like no fear to save her.
Even in his dying breath, he gives her, because he takes the keys to the cars when he hears that the lady died. He's like, you guys can't leave her until the cops come back and arrest you guys for killing her. Yeah. Also, good guy move. But he gives back the car keys with his dying breath because he's like, get the fuck out of here.
She's hiding in the room where he fights Leatherface. She's hiding in the bed.
Where he gets slaughtered.
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 Yeah. once again, very violent.
Very
Gets
gory.
his leg broken off,
Oh my god.
by a hammer.
And then you can see, like in Midsummer, when you see the skull get smashed in, kind of same, but you see it repeatedly here, so
Almost
it's not
worse.
it's not as graphic because you kind of get used to it after the second blow, but it's still graphic.
Very graphic. Yeah.
It's also expected because you're watching a horror movie compared to Midsummer.
Then because this fight then takes place in Grandma's room, the one room she told the boy not to go into. And why is that? Because she has hidden his chainsaw in the wall.
Why?
Why?
How? And why the fuck is it still full of gas?
Yes, it's been in there, I'm guessing, since the mid-70s. It's got gas. Gas goes bad.
Yeah, and doesn't it like evaporate and stuff as well?
I don't know if it does it in the tank, but it does go bad.
Yeah, you need to.
From what I understand, I'm not perfect. It might be wrong, but I'm from what I know.
It shouldn't be.
It doesn't have infinite shelf storage.
No.
But it's in there. Instead of locking it in a vault or in a big chest or trunk, or even
like putting it in the basement or under the house at least.
No, she puts it in the wall,
closes up the wall, puts the wallpaper back. I don't fucking know.
It's really only so we can have the cool scene where angry Leatherface punches the wall and
which we barely get to see.
Yeah, brings out the chainsaw, and it's a big member berries moment.
But again, we don't get to see that because the camera's focused on Mel, who's underneath the bed.
Yeah, so she...
All we do is hear him punch the wall and bring out then he puts down the chainsaw on the floor right in front of her, and that's when, oh
my god, the chainsaw! It's the chainsaw, wow. It's
sure it's yellow, but I'm not sure it's the chainsaw.
Yeah, which is this weird thing where Leatherface became an iconic character, but he's not as iconic. He's not Jason.
No,
he's not Freddy Krueger in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's just one of the characters. If anyone's scary in the original movie, it's the hitchhiker.
Oh yes, he's creepy one.
Fucked up. Yeah.
Ooh, that's the one I had nightmares about.
It's just that he's more iconic because he has a mask.
He has the big chainsaw, and the ending of the original when he's running around with the chainsaw over his head, screaming at her.
So, I get it, but I mean, it's this big ooh. And it doesn't. Leatherface is back. It's this weird way.
But it doesn't really work.
No, it doesn't work. It shouldn't work that way.
And then we have the second weird thing is that what's her name? The original final girl?
Yes, I don't remember. Sally Hardesty. I don't remember the actor's name.
No, she's passed on, so she wasn't in this movie, obviously.
No, it's a new actress, yeah.
But Sally, from the original movie, has, for some reason decided to become a Texas Ranger, and she's only that to exact revenge on Leatherface. Only Leatherface, it seems.
Yeah. I'm guessing the cook is dead, and everyone else dies in the movie.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we don't know about Grandpa. He sucks her blood. We don't know about.
Well, he's 100 years old in the first one, so.
Yeah, is he a vampire?
No.
How is he alive in that dusty state?
I don't know. He looks like a mummy, but it's just that it's bad old age makeup.
Yeah, I suppose.
That's the thing. He's supposed to look like
he looks like he's just dust.
Yeah, he looks like a mummy. Yeah.
She's only after Leatherface for some reason, and she comes to the rescue then because obviously she gets the memo that he's wearing her face.
Yeah. So she is Laurie Strode from Halloween 2018 in this one.
Yeah, basically.
That's the big influence on this movie. They really wanted to make the new Halloween, which is kind of ironic because even that trilogy is going to be, or that continuation of the franchise is ruined now because of Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
So it's not a good way to they measure your movie.
Almost copied her too much because she's this Rambo-looking old lady with long gray hair and a bunch of weapons, and she was so cool in her
in the original
flannel shirt.
Yeah. Now she's a badass bitch.
Yeah. Stop.
Who arrives in town and is killed literally 3 minutes later.
Yep.
She gets impaled on the chainsaw.
Iconically, though.
Sure, yeah, he lifts her up. And then they literally throw her on a pile of trash. Just throwing that legacy on the trash.
Yeah.
Okay. So, big whoop. Why the fuck was she even in the movie?
I mean, they needed the airtime, honestly, because it's only an hour 23.
Yeah.
Much like the original.
Pretty short, yeah.
But this one actually feels shorter somehow.
Yeah, the original...
Because the original drags out. These last 16 minutes feel like an hour.
Yeah, which is...
While this one just feels like... Okay, he's killed everyone. Oh shit, it's been an hour already?
Oh, we forgot to mention, before she arrives, there's this whole scene on the bus.
Oh, yeah.
Lil and Mel get out of the house after Mel is covered in poop, which is very funny.
So unnecessary,
So unnecessary, but she's covered in poop. They go onto the bus. I don't know if
that's supposed to be a...
I don't know.
Commentary, but I don't know.
I don't know. It's just...
It's just stupid.
It's just stupid. They got on the bus with all the auction people.
The party
bus. They're having a party, yeah. And of course, Leatherface follows them, and we have probably the best scene in the movie, where he just fucking massacres everyone.
Yes, but it's prefaced by the worst line in the entire movie. Because when he steps on the bus, all the millennials and Gen Zs pull up their phones, start live streaming, and the front dude says, "Try anything, dude, you'll get cancelled." And then gets chopped into bits on camera while live streaming. Because why would Leatherface or any fucking hillbilly killer care about being cancelled online?
Yeah.
He doesn't have online. He doesn't have a presence online.
And even if they don't know him, they can see that he's obviously not a modern guy. So.
And he wouldn't care. Like, in that moment, your phone isn't gonna save you.
No.
Literally. If a guy with a chainsaw is standing a couple of feet in front of you, your phone will never kill you. Save you.
They're making fun of millennials, or...
A little bit, yeah.
Which is kind of weird, because before that, it felt like they were, they were being,
maybe they had
progressive story points, but now all of a sudden they make fun of that progressive kind of person.
I think they're like trying to be, sure, progressiveness is good, but you gotta keep it real though sometimes.
I guess.
I don't know.
It's what we call tonal inconsistencies, which is not a good thing in the movie.
I get it in this one, but at the same time, it's just whatever.
Yeah. However,
they could just skip that entire thing where like 10 phones go up.
He then chops everyone. He lops off limbs, cuts people in half. There's blood everywhere.
He throws a leg over his shoulder.
And it's supposed to be like, haha, fun gore. It's like the big lawnmower scene in Braindead.
Oh yeah.
Problem is the scene where everyone's like trying to get out and like, oh my god, please, bloody hands pressed up against the window, just makes it feel kind of like, oh, I don't want to laugh at this. This is horrible.
No, it
kind of ruins it a little bit, but it's still fun.
Yeah, but it's also very much just slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
So it's awful at the same time, specifically because like the last person he kills is the bank lady.
Yeah,
who we've had a little bit of like, we know who she is. Yeah. And she's like the one person who realizes, oh, we can open the window and crawl out, but no, she gets halfway and then chopped in half.
Yeah, we see the intestines just spill out. Gross, but really cool.
Yeah, really nice, really cool scene. That's one of the few, like, where things happen. Because it's kind of long.
No, oh yeah.
And we actually get, like, he kills people. He's a bad guy now. He's not just killing people because he's mad. Now he's just killing people for the heck of it, I suppose.
Like you say, it doesn't really fit with the character, but sure.
Sure. I mean, he wants to get to Mel and Lil, who have been annoying, who are in the back of the bus in the bathroom.
They get out through the roof. He somehow hears them opening the roof, the top window.
Yeah,
even though his chainsaw is idling and there's music. He hears a little clicky for some reason. Okay, whatever.
But they get out.
They get out, and that's when they meet Sally. They get into her car. She locks them in like, I'm going to use you for bait. He wants to kill you now.
Yeah, and that's when she dies.
Gets out, gets killed. They get into the car. He throws his chainsaw at the car.
So they crash.
Because then you just veer off and you run into a wall. You just keep driving. Whatever. It's a movie. Whatever.
Yeah, and they're already traumatized. Sure, you'll flinch, and then it's done. Mel gets
her leg impaled, so she can't get out of the car.
She's just literally sitting in the background for the next, 10-15 minutes, screaming, Lil! Lil! Lil!
Lil gets a gun from the Texan, he's dead, but he had guns in his garage,
and he showed her it.
Yeah, which is then harkening back to her being scared of guns, but him trying to show her that guns aren't dangerous.
In your own hands, you're in power.
Yeah, exactly. It's people are dangerous, not guns. Whatever. So then this school shooting victim picks up the classic school shooter weapon AR-15 and is going to shoot Leatherface. So I don't know really what they're trying to say about guns or school shootings. It's muddled. Like, is it a bad thing or is it a good thing?
Yeah.
Because ultimately it is a gun that saves them in the end, but we'll get to that. However, this one, though, is not loaded. Obviously,
because
he didn't hand her a loaded gun.
Exactly.
So it clicks. Leatherface runs away into a theater.
They have their whole cat and mouse back and forth. There's a shotgun involved because Sally is
somehow survived,
alive enough to load the shotgun for Lil,
and then die.
Obviously, she's just there to because she doesn't know how to load a shotgun, but she knows how to shoot one.
Yeah,
apparently.
It's not that hard. You put it in the side, you cock it to load it.
I mean, you need to cock it to be able to shoot, right? How would she know that for the second shot?
To get the slug out. I mean, maybe she watched a movie. I don't know. Whatever.
I suppose.
They go into this theater where Leatherface is setting up a decoy. Once again, not at all his kind of style. But whatever. They fight. They fall into this pool that is there for some reason in the theater.
Again, very pointless and unnecessary. Oh, that's right. Mel has somehow gotten free by then.
She gets out somehow.
And the sisters are tag teaming again.
Yeah, they shoot him and he falls into the water.
And somehow they get away.
They get away.
They get to the Tesla, because obviously they drive a Tesla.
Yeah, I don't remember, because he gets out of the water. We see him jump out of the water, right?
Yeah, but that's after Lil gets out, and then I think he gets back in the water.
Right.
Or something.
So they jump into the Tesla.
And you're thinking, oh, thank God they're saved. They put on autopilot to go home to Austin.
Starts driving very slowly out of there.
The Teslas drive slow in the beginning when you're autopiloting them.
Sure.
Because they're not allowed to drive fast in close quarters, so to speak.
Yeah, and they're in a little town, so.
Yeah.
But Leatherface somehow gets out of the water. He's
catching up to them.
Yeah, and not wounded from being shot several times. Grabs Mel through the window.
Pulls her out,
and just saws her head off while Lil sticks her head out the sunroof and just goes, no!
Looking like Sally at the end of the first
car
one.
Driving away. It's automated, so she can't even stop the car.
I mean, she could if she'd pressed the screen, but why would she want to, though?
No, yeah, I know. But it's like, no, please, no, stop. She's just trying, but yeah, it's supposed to be the ending of the original, and it's so fucking dumb.
It's so dumb. Because...
First of all, they completely get that ending wrong. She wants to get out of there in the original.
Yeah, and this one it looks like she doesn't.
Yeah, which I guess they're making their own ending, but it's supposed to look like they're fine. But it's stupid.
Also, there's no other people involved in the ending here because she goes home by autopilot on a Tesla.
Imagine her sitting the rest of that drive home for 2 or 3 hours, just
no more, because they say it's like a 4 or 6 hour drive.
Oh right.
Out into bumfuck nowhere. It's just
so
she does. So dumb. I mean, sure, she's the final girl. Oh, woo, she survived. But why because she has this survivor's remorse from the school shooting.
Yeah.
Why does she thinks that this is her fault? She survived at the school. This means death is coming for her now, which is why Leatherface is killing them all.
So that's okay.
She survives anyways. Is that her supposed to be okay, so maybe I'm not supposed to die?
Yeah.
But she lost everyone. She has her dad, but apparently her dad isn't very good.
No, I don't think they want to live with him.
Because
some sort
Mel
of
says
out.
that you shouldn't be with him, basically.
Yeah. So.
What was the point of this movie?
Yeah, what was other than being a gory horror movie? What was the point?
Which also, they had 3 proper gory moments.
Yeah, which is I mean, I would say if you're just watching it for the gore, it's efficient.
Sure,
I would say it's efficient. You have the entire bus, you have the cops, you have the people in the house. There's enough gore,
Sure, but and
the ending, of course.
Yeah.
So
but the story is so it's non-existent and boring.
Yes, and that's where the big problem. Because if this wasn't a Chainsaw Massacre movie,
if this was Leatherface,
if this was just a random, crazy hillbillies killing city folk, I would have said it was fine. It would have been like a 2.5 out of 5.
And the only thing you had to change was the fact that he put on a face, and I mean,
He could have technically used his chainsaw.
Yeah, he could have technically...
It's not exclusive to Leatherface.
No, just skip the face thing.
Yeah. But they wanted to make a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. And the thing is, the original isn't just a horror movie. It is full of... First of all, it was supposed to be a black comedy.
What?
I mean, pitch black. You're not supposed to laugh at it, but that's why everyone's like screaming and they're acting weird.
Okay, fine.
It's supposed to have a strange comedic tone.
I mean, you kind of have that in the beginning with the hitchhiker.
That too, yeah.
But after the killings, I'm not sure I'd agree with that.
No, yeah.
Black, even pitch black.
No, I mean, that's not how they sold it, but that was the thought he had
in the beginning.
Why some of the characters feel like caricatures almost and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's also, the only reason it is a horror movie is because horror movies sold much better than dramas.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone could just make a cheap-ass horror movie and get it shown in drive-in theaters or, the Grindhouse cinemas or whatever. A drama only like Hollywood can make.
Yeah.
So Tobe Hooper and I think Kim Henkel was involved in writing it. I'm not sure. He wrote the sequel though. They wanted to write a story like that was full of themes. I'm not sure exactly who wrote it.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, Kim Henkel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the more well-known themes are like obviously animal cruelty.
Yes.
Because there's this whole story about the way they slaughtered cows back in the day was beating them in the head with a mallet, but nowadays they have the
air gun pressure thing,
the prod thing, yeah. And of course the cannibals they beat all their victims with a hammer,
the classic way.
Yeah. So it's and also kind of like a vegan motif, something. Yeah, because basically the victims in this movie is being treated so inhumanely. That's what's so terrifying about it, especially the ending. That 16 minutes with just screaming. It's just it's horror. Even rewatching it this time, I was doing other things at the same time. I was cleaning up and fixing with the computer. I just stopped for those 16 minutes because it's so horrifying how they treat her. And then you realize that's basically how we treat cows.
Sure.
Sure. So there's that. It's not like it's make of it what you will. It doesn't judge. It just shows. So it's commentary, not trying to make a point.
Not anti.
But then there is a gentrification commentary as well, throughout the movie, which is it's very, very subtle. It's the anti the new one. The new one is not subtle at all with its commentary. But there's a gentrification commentary because they're just outside of Austin, but they're basically in like a medieval world where people, there's no gas.
They only have gas sent out like once a week, and if they're out, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's all these dilapidated houses, and this is the one that I always had in my mind because it's the one that Tobe Hooper mentioned a lot in documentaries and in commentaries and stuff. That he saw what the modern world did to like the old part of Texas.
Yes,
because that's what the hitchhiker talks about. Like, he doesn't have a job anymore because the new cattle gun is much more efficient. They don't need 15 guys beating cows over the head.
They just have the gun thing.
Yeah. So and you see all the people just hanging around the cemetery. The old guy drinking, like they've been driven out of their old world because of like the modern civilization creeping into the old world. And it's even then, of course, pushed to its limits because it's a horror movie where they don't even have food anymore, so they kill humans.
They start grave robbing.
They kill people they find.
Yeah.
And they sell human barbecue because that's the only way they can make money. Because all the big slaughterhouse industry has taken all the cattle.
Yeah, the meat they make is sold into the cities.
Yeah, exactly. So that's also, it's a commentary on gentrification, and it's also like it's supposed to be an allegory, which is also, once again, it's very subtle, and some people say that you're like, you're stretching, you're reaching, but it's an allegory for how soldiers were treated in the Vietnam War.
It's true. That's true.
I mean, it's
because
literally
they'd probably come back me as crazy as the family.
Yeah, and being thrown into this modern world where they don't fit in.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anyone else has said, probably someone has said that. The way Sally is being like tormented throughout the end, like think of like the first Rambo, First Blood.
Yeah.
Or think of Deer Hunter, the scenes from the prison camps.
Yeah, that's exactly what
They're
did
being treated like
with
animals.
war prisoners.
Yeah. Like making them play Russian roulette that's made up for the movie, but making them like play with their lives.
It's like skenavrättning, basically.
Yeah, it's like a mock execution. Yeah.
Keep doing that and it'll break the person down. And this is exactly what they're doing with her.
Treating the prisoners like animals.
They're like, oh, we're gonna eat you, but not yet.
Yeah,
so they're just torturing her.
Yeah, and it's this, especially since the 70s, where it was very popular to talk or to comment on the war, which is a good thing, because that was a dumb war. Most wars are dumb, but some are worse.
Some are even dumber.
But
the new one doesn't have any of this commentary. The new one has
commentary.
Sure, but
it's
inefficient and dumb.
So surface level. And if they want to comment on it, then do your own thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, the commentary they have is literally the people telling us.
Yeah.
That this is us commenting on this.
Yeah, you have the gentrifuckers comment, you have the anti-gun comments, you have the hillbilly acting like the stereotypical hillbilly, like
you town people are stupid.
Yeah, goddamn city folk.
Yeah,
Texans don't like to be told what to do. It's so on the nose, where the original is so subtle, like.
Yeah, I didn't even think of the war bits and stuff like that. I mean, I thought of the animals, sure, but
if you don't want to think about that, it's just a horror movie.
Yeah.
This one, it's not just a horror movie because they literally like shout in your face. Gentrification, gun violence. Yeah, trauma, like.
But then also, the gun violence bit never pays out.
No, it never pays off. Yeah.
We don't get anything from that.
The gentrification part doesn't make sense either, since they're basically buying a ghost town. Yeah. So they're not pushing anyone out.
Except for one
person
lady
who wasn't even supposed to be there. So it's very forced.
Yeah. They could have added like that they've paid off other people to leave. That they could have seen them leave and being a bit bitter that they had to leave their place for money.
Whatever, we're buying your town. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But no.
But they don't want to make the Gen Z millennial go-getters bad.
No,
really.
Yeah. And then the whole trauma part, because we have trauma from Lil being in the school, surviving a school shooting, and Sally then surviving the original and now coming back. But the trauma part, Sally is killed immediately, so that doesn't matter. And
pointless.
Lily's trauma is barely brought up after they mentioned the first time. She has a quick flashback when she sees someone being killed. I don't remember who.
Well, you have this tiny bit in the beginning when they get stopped by the cops who are like, oh, well, we know who you guys are. Head on by, we'll be there if you need us, basically. Yeah. We see her scar. That's it. And then we have when she tells Handyman Redneck, whatever his name was, that she survived it. And he's like, oh shit, well, you're pretty cool for surviving.
Yeah, making him into a very considerate person all of a sudden. So he's no longer the evil redneck guy.
And then having a very short, very stupid, oh my god, did you have sex with him? So unnecessary, so unrelevant.
They didn't even do that. So
she came out of the bathroom and, oh my god, did you have sex with him?
I don't know what about the point, but whatever.
So dumb. And then we have a couple of flashbacks where we see her lying on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It leads nowhere.
Nowhere.
What is the point of having her being a school shooter survivor?
None.
They don't make it a point like she uses a gun to save them.
No.
Or her trauma is what saves her. Like,
I mean, it could be the only thing. Like, she gets over her trauma, I suppose, to like rise to the occasion and do something good, because she does mention somewhere that, oh, but my friends were the ones who were the go-getters, who did things, who should have survived. I'm no one, I do nothing, I don't whatever. So maybe it's like but you survived. That's the thing, though. She didn't save anyone, so what's the point?
She didn't really save anyone. She didn't, like, rise to the occasion, really. She saved herself.
She did rise to the occasion for a short second when she thought she could shoot him. That failed.
But that's it, yeah.
So the guns failed anyways.
Yeah.
I don't see the point.
So, and like we said, that's the big problem. Like, if this was just a slasher, it would have been fine. Whatever.
It would have been better, at least.
But since, first of all, they're dragging, once again, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the name is being dragged through the mud in this subpar horror movie. But also the fact that they're trying now to, because a lot of the sequels are just trying to be, slasher movies, which is the wrong way, because the original is not a slasher movie. There's barely any blood in the original.
No.
But
and
especially,
there's only like 5 victims in total.
Yeah. And especially like number 3 and the remake, the 2003 Michael Bay remake. He didn't direct it, but he produced it. I think. Whatever. They really want to emphasize the gore. And that's the wrong way. That's not what Texas Chainsaw Massacre is about.
Just make a horror film then.
Exactly. But, like we mentioned that in the original video. They want to... This is name recognition. Yeah. This is brand recognition, because that's how you can spend $20 million on a shitty slasher movie.
And to be kind of mean, maybe, but I don't think that too many of Gen Zs, at least, really know about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Leatherface. They might know about the actual chainsaw, but that's about it.
I think Leatherface is iconic enough to be recognizable. I do think so.
I hope so, but I'm scared it might not. At least not the younger Gen Zs. The older ones, perhaps.
Yeah. And
of course, if you're into horror, sure. I mean, obviously.
Yeah,
but not everyone is.
But that's the thing. I haven't seen a lot of reviews. I know some people actually thought it was an okay slasher movie, but I guess they don't have the same relationship to the original. Okay.
Or to film in general, I suppose.
Yeah, but I like Jeremy Jahns. Sure, he's I don't know. He doesn't go deep into movies, but he is a pretty good critic, I think.
Yeah.
He pointed out it's a pointless movie.
Yeah.
With
obvious flaws.
And some more like horror. What do you call it? Horror focused YouTubers. Spooky Astronauts and Possessed by Horror. They both absolutely hated the movie. So you're not really. I mean, this is just anecdotal, of course. I don't know about every fan of the franchise, or whatever, but in general, it seems like the fans doesn't really even appreciate the movie. So who were you trying to impress with this? Like, what was the point?
It's just a failed. I mean, even if the point was something, you failed. Probably, most likely. Because first of all, I didn't know that this movie had actually come out.
Yeah, it kind of unceremoniously came out. I saw the trailer, and that's why I knew about it.
As you mentioned it, I opened Netflix and then I saw it.
Yeah.
But I had Netflix open from earlier. Didn't see it then.
No, it just came out. There was no big fanfare.
No.
There was because I don't think this was a Netflix project from the start. I think they sold it to Netflix because of reshoots and maybe even in COVID
the opening
or
sequence, you had a few other production companies, and then you didn't even have Netflix in the production companies, I think.
No, but it's
distributed.
Yeah,
by
but
Netflix.
they're calling it a Netflix movie now because they own rights to it. Yeah. So
you know what the worst thing is though? The movie isn't even close to 1 hour 23 minutes because the last about 15 minutes is text. Credits.
Yeah, there's a lot of credits. And did you watch the credits?
I started and I was like, is something gonna happen? I started scrolling, nothing happens.
Well, there is a post-credit scene.
I
didn't know that either because I just turned it off when I was standing. But I read later that there is a post-credit scene, which is it's just more member berries got to clap for that and sequel bait because it's him walking into the old house from the first movie, like Leatherface is home, basically, and it's just like such bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a through and through failure. It fails as a sequel.
It
fails as its own thing.
It's barely good as gore.
Yeah.
Because you can't suffer through the rest of it just for those 3 moments of gore.
That little... The gore is good, but it's barely enough to justify the movie. No. Yeah, so... It is a complete failure, and I really hope they leave Texas Chainsaw Massacre alone now. We've had sequels, we've had remakes, we've had spin-offs. Just
leave it
alone. We don't need anymore.
Do your own thing.
Do your own thing. Yes.
You could have taken this entire story. We said it before. You could have taken this entire story, changed about 2 details.
Yeah.
And it would have been a completely separate, still bad, horror movie.
Yeah, exactly. And you sold it to Netflix, and just as many people would have watched it.
Yeah.
Because people just scroll through Netflix, watch it, whatever.
Specifically if you, put it up as a new release.
Yeah.
Which they would have, because you paid extra for it, probably.
Yeah. And also just make it about something. They only made it because they wanted to bank on the name. But they had all these little ideas. Make it about... a school shooter survivor.
You know what? There is a movie coming out about that, which is a drama, which looks actually fantastic. About 2 girls who survived a school shooting. I don't remember the name of it at the moment, but I'll make you tweet it out or something. It looks like that's how you should handle it, not a horror film.
Or even if you want to make a horror film about that, or an action movie. I know it was very controversial when it came out, and it got super bad reviews, which I didn't think was fair. There was this movie last year, or the year before that, called Run, Hide, Fight.
Oh yeah, you told me about that one.
It's basically Die Hard, but during a school shooting.
Yeah.
And people thought it was disrespectful to make an action movie, but I don't think they actually watched the movie.
I still have to watch it.
It's not how school shootings, actually happen.
Probably.
But it's more of an escapist fantasy, which movies are,
Yeah.
It's, we sorry for making this a short review of Run, Hide, Fight, but I think people unfairly judge that movie just because it got picked up by these right-wingers who put money out.
Who didn't want to see, yeah.
Ben Shapiro put his name on it
so others didn't want to see it.
Yeah, exactly. The movie in itself is not perfect. It's far from perfect, but it's not as bad as people say. However... That movie is because we constantly watch these school shootings on TV, and we see all the victims, and some people, sure, they want to talk about it, or they want to try to fix it afterwards, but there are of course people in the heat of the moment wish they could do something,
Oh yeah.
Which even sensible people probably think that I wish I could be there and do something.
Yeah.
That's what the movie's about.
That's what all the parents are yelling outside. Let me in. I'm gonna save my kid.
Yeah. That's what that movie's about. It kind of grants you that wish. Through a movie, get some sort of catharsis.
Get the feeling that you actually did something.
Which I guess is, kind of overanalyzing it. But, they could have made a movie about that. Make a horror movie, a school shooter horror movie.
Oh, I just got a fantastic idea for that.
Yeah, show the true horror of a school shooting. Almost painting the school shooters as monsters, but then have the heroine actually, or the hero, whatever, heroine, because it's a horror movie, actually use her trauma, she's traumatized, but then she pushes through it and saves the day, or escapes, or whatever you want to call it.
That was also 2 things I didn't like about the requel Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because in the original, you have Sally running around constantly to get away. Mm-hmm. She doesn't stop for a second. And this one, our big brave girl, she hides in a closet and under a bed. Come on. Yeah. And then the bad horror movie trope where not the first person who dies, but the black guy dies really early.
Yeah.
Come on.
I thought when he got up, I was like, oh, they didn't kill the black guy. How cool.
And then 5 seconds later he's dead.
It makes sense, because his face was ripped open, but,
It was come on, did you have to... Because they really unceremoniously killed the black guy. Yeah. But come on, that's an old trope.
Yeah, especially since they're pointing stuff like that out. Why then just give in to that trope? It's super weird.
So dumb.
Yeah. But you know what?
Let's leave it.
Let's leave it at that. I
It's
don't even know.
Bad movie.
I don't even know if we spent this much time talking about it, actually. I guess it's because we didn't really have any other movie to talk about this week.
No, we went into it thinking that maybe.
Yeah, maybe it could have been good.
I mean, we were pleasantly surprised by Scream 5. We could have been pleasantly surprised by this, I suppose.
Yeah, sure. I was like 1% of me thought it could be good, but I mean, that's the 1%.
Exactly.
I'm hopeful. Anyway, that's going to have to be it for this episode. Sorry if this felt a little truncated, and we're way under an hour, which hasn't happened in a while.
But you know the story. There is a previous partially recorded episode which we will put up on our Patreon. It has a very abrupt ending. We might just put in a screen. Something maybe.
Yeah. But if you want to watch that, and also in the at the same time support us, support our independent podcasting, and also get a weekly extra episode, monthly commentary tracks, exclusive videos, and raw material like this sometimes. You can get all that for just $3 a month on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. So please, if you enjoyed this, even for a little bit, check us out over there. It would help so much.
If you enjoyed us, not the movie, us, talking about this shitty movie.
Also, of course, if you don't want to support us monetarily, that's fine. Just subscribe or follow however you listen or watch this. We're available
5-star.
Yeah, we're available on all platforms. Check us out there. We talk about movies every week.
Hit us up on the socials if you want to comment on this and you're not commenting on YouTube.
There's link trees where you can check us out and all the social stuff. And tell your friends. But other than that, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. But until then, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.